Welcome to A Vision for You. We are an 11-step focused Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. We are based in Reno, Nevada. We meet at the Triangle Club on Wednesday evenings at 10 p.m. and on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. at the Dryers Club. We use prayer and meditation to receive peace of mind and to pursue unity and fellowship inside and outside of these rooms. All are welcome at whatever level you are at today.
Welcome to A Vision for You. My name is Pam, and I am an alcoholic. Today we're going to do a guided meditation on love and the 12 steps. We'll begin with some 4-count breathing to get ourselves centered and grounded in this moment. So we will breathe in for 4, hold for 4, release for 4, pause for a moment in between, and we will do that 4 times. Begin in, hold, out, and pause. Again, in, hold, release, and pause. Again, in, hold, out, pause. Last one like that. In, hold, out, and pause. From this moment and for the rest of the meditation, you don't have to control your breath in any way, but if you can become an observer of your own breath, that can help with the process of staying present in the moment. We'll move into a body scan just to check in with ourselves, just to get us more aware of where we are in our space. So we're just doing a body scan from top to bottom for the purpose of just becoming aware. No judgment, no critiquing ourselves. If you do find an area of tension or tightness, you can invite breath into that area and then just move on. So starting at the top of our head, I like to imagine a golden sun. You may want to imagine a cool waterfall or even just melting into your space at the top of your head and moving down. Notice the area around your eyes. Notice if that area is soft or if there's any tightness or tension around the forehead, around the eyes. And then breathe again and come down into your jaw. Just notice the area of your jaw. It's an area where we can hold a lot of tightness and clenching. And just breathe into that space. Carry on again. Your neck, the top of your shoulders. If you find an area that does have tension that wants you to stay with it for a little longer, that's fine. Notice the shoulders. Are they tight? Are they hunched up around your ears? Can they soften and loosen on their own just a little more? And then maybe choose one side. I even like to imagine holding a feather and sweeping down your arm with that feather-light attention down your arm to your elbow, down to your wrist, and into the palm of your hand, and just notice your hands. Are they open? Are they clenched and tightly fisted? Do they need to curl over and ground into your legs just to be a little more grounded and present in this moment? And once you've noticed on one side, sweep up, come across, and do that same thing on the other side. Sweep your attention down, down to the elbow, down again, down to the wrist, and into your hand. Notice the feeling of your hand. Open or folded over to ground you just a little more. Whatever you need today, just listen to your own body. And then bring your awareness into your chest. Sometimes I like to even put a hand over my heart and just feel my own heart beating. Or you can just notice the rising and falling of your chest as you breathe in and out. Anytime that we are focused on our breath, anytime that we have our hand on our heart and are feeling our own heart beating, we are in the present moment, because our breath and our heartbeat live only in that present moment. And then continue down into your belly. Notice the rising and falling of your belly as you breathe deeply in and out. And again, if it helps, you may put a hand there just to remind you of that space. Take a few breaths and connect with your belly. And then continue following with your awareness into the lower half of your body. Notice as you're sitting on the chair, the contact of your body with the chair or with whatever surface you are sitting or lying on. Your lower back, your bottom, the backs of your legs. Notice that the surface that you are sitting on is 100% fully supporting you. You need to do nothing. Just be here in this present moment. That is all this present moment asks of you, is just to be. And then we continue our awareness down through our legs, down to your knees, down again, down to your feet. And notice whatever surface your feet are in contact with. Maybe take a moment to just plant those feet firmly into that surface so that you remain even further grounded in this present moment. And I like to imagine tree roots sinking deep into Mother Earth. Sometimes I even sink them in so deeply that I find a boulder and wrap my roots around it to keep me even more present in this moment. And now that we are firmly grounded, relaxing with our breath, aware of our bodies, we begin the guided portion of our meditation, Love and the 12 Steps. There are two big ways in which the word love is used in the AA program. It is written in our big book that love and tolerance of others is our code. It is also said that the program basically boils down to two things: love and service. And so it seems to me that love is found in every aspect of the AA program. Although brotherly love is the spiritual principle behind step 8, when we look at the steps overall, we see that love can be found in every one of them. So today we take a walk through the 12 steps, looking at them through the lens of love. First, we need to understand what love is and what love is not, as it applies to AA. Love and tolerance in AA means to treat others as you would want to be treated. This type of love is not even a feeling, it's more of an action word. It starts with loving yourself, then we begin to love other people, and finally through the program we can extend that love to all beings. Because we begin to understand that our kind of love is not about romance. It's a higher power. For some people, love is their higher power. For others, love and God are interchangeable terms. And for others, love is simply a moral code. Call it whatever you want, this type of love is a powerful force. Love and tolerance as a code allows you to understand that you can love someone without having to like them. And this is huge for those of us who come into the program filled with anger and hate. Love and tolerance promote open-mindedness and freedom from judging others and their opinions and even their actions. Love and tolerance helps you to love yourself and forgive yourself. Or, as I first heard when I came into the program, to love you until you can love yourself. When we learn to love without limits, we begin to see the good in all people. We quit judging who we can save and who we can't. We learn that everyone has value and a purpose, both in AA and out in the world. We may even find over time that this feeling of connection grows and expands beyond just people, and we start to love other creatures. We learn that we are part of an interconnected system. In some ways, we're all one. When we start to engage our hearts, that organ of knowledge that lives in the center of our bodies, we can greatly change our perception of the world and how we choose to move through it. So let's begin our walk through the 12 steps with a focus on love. Step 1. We admitted that we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. When we come into the program, we are often so broken, we feel so unlovable. Alcoholism is a shame-based illness. Shame is the feeling that we are bad people. Not just that we've done something wrong, that's guilt, but that we are fundamentally wrong. In step 1, we admitted that we were powerless over alcohol. Right from that very first step, we start to feel the love. AA welcomes us in and tells us that we are not alone anymore. Wellness starts with we. Illness starts with I. Welcome starts with we. Isolation starts with I. When we admit that we're powerless over alcohol and that our lives have become unmanageable, and we meet other people who have felt and done the same things we have felt and done in our disease, we begin the process of healing. Step 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. In this step, we begin to look for something outside of ourselves that can provide us support and healing. We call this our higher power. For some people, that higher power is God. For some people, it is nature. For others, a great spirit or Mother Earth. Love is powerful. Some people believe God is love, and vice versa. For some people, the AA group itself will act as a higher power, even if only for a short time, especially when they're new. And again, we remember that love, AA is a program of love and service. Step 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Sometimes we hear this step altered a little bit, and people will say, turn our will and our lives over to the care of a loving God as we understood Him. This can be an important distinction, because for many of us, God was not previously a source of love, it was a source of fear. So one of the beautiful things about AA is that we get to form a new relationship to ourselves, to each other, and to the God of our understanding. Or maybe we don't understand God, and that's okay too. As we learned in step 2, we don't even have to have God as our higher power. This is a loving choice we get to make for ourselves. We get to decide how, when, and to who we turn our lives over. And sometimes we make this decision over and over again with a new version of our higher power as we continue to grow in our program. Step 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. This is a huge step in learning about self-love. When we do this step thoughtfully and thoroughly, it can be one of the most loving acts and one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves. This step allows us to hold up to the light all the darkness of our past and begin the process of truly forgiving ourselves. This step can help us to see the things we do as part of our disease, but it also allows us to heal the shame, because we recognize that those things we've done are not our true nature. Our moral inventory also includes strengths. The strengths that we are capable of being loved and loving. Step 5. admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Having completed our inventory, we share it out loud with another person. Not only is it an act of loving kindness to hear someone read their fourth step, but it is a huge act of love and trust to release your secrets to another human being. And as with the fourth step, when it's done properly, this step can be one of the most loving things a person can do for themselves. When we reach deep into our own soul and clean out any and all remaining signs of sickness, it's healing and freeing in a way that cannot be described. In addition, this step breaks the isolation that keeps many of us trapped in our addiction. When we feel connected and we feel a sense of belonging, we're much more able to begin loving and accepting ourselves as whole human beings. Step 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. By now, we're halfway through the steps. Maybe things are going better in our lives. Maybe we're feeling better. So now, what are these defects of character, and how do we know if we're entirely ready to have them removed? Defects of character can be viewed as any thought, feeling, or action that does not express our true spiritual nature. They are many of the things that we wrote about in Step 4 and talked about in Step 5. Many of these character defects are things that we have lived with our whole lives. Maybe they even served a protective function at one time. But over time they warped and corroded and became toxic. Yet we cling to them like they're old friends. Releasing them now is not only an act of love, it's an act of survival. Step 7. Humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. The key word in this step is humbly. The spiritual principle behind this step is humility, which is a very interesting word. Most people associate the word humility with humiliation, but in AA it means something very different. Humility, like love, can be found in all of the steps. And in AA, it was described by Bill W. as the avenue to the true freedom of the human spirit. When your spirit is free, and you're free to love yourself and others, you are also more able to be humble. Step 8. Made a list of all persons we've harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Love, or more specifically brotherly love, is the spiritual principle behind this step. So this step is all about the love. We say in this program that the first 7 steps are about repairing the damage we've done to ourselves, and now in the next few steps, we begin the process of repairing the damage we've done to others. Brotherly love in this step gives us the compassion, the empathy, along with the courage and humility to make things right with our friends, our families, our colleagues, our coworkers, even our communities. In other words, all those people we've harmed with our actions when we were drinking. Brotherly love is shown in meetings by extending kindness and a warm welcome to others, particularly those who are new in our program. It's shown in sponsorship and countless other ways. Step 9. Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. This is a big step, one that's hard for a lot of people. But as with so many of the previous steps, when it's done right, when it's done thoroughly and honestly and with love, it can offer freedom from the past shame and illness of this addiction. And it's a loving thing to do for ourselves and others. By now in our program, we've let go of so many of our character defects and we've become more spiritual in our nature. We're more open-hearted, more open to love and able to care for people more. Where we were angry and full of hate, we've now become more forgiving, or at least more willing to forgive. We've become less self-centered and more heart-centered. And we also learn in this step that we can reach out to people to offer amends in the most loving way and still not be forgiven. But that doesn't mean that we've done it wrong. We have not failed at this step. Loving ourselves means doing the right thing, not dependent upon anyone else's response. Step 10. Continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Repeating a line from the above step, loving ourselves means doing the right thing independent of the response that we get from anyone else. In step 10, the focus is on planning our day, living responsibly, taking inventory, and reflecting at day's end so that when we're done, we can rest assured that our side of the street is kept clean. We've done a lot of work in the previous 9 steps to eliminate destructive behaviors and change our lives for the better. And now we enter what is called in AA the maintenance steps of the program, steps 10, 11, and 12. So step 10 isn't just about admitting when we're wrong, although that is very important. It's also allowing us to identify our strengths. We get to take an honest look back at our day. And guided by a series of questions from the Big Book, we critically analyze our behavior, not for the purpose of beating ourselves up, but to take stock of anything that may lead us back to our old ways. Just like those character defects in step 6 and 7 that we let go of once served a protective function, these new habits and behaviors protect us from drinking. And these new habits and behaviors don't include beating ourselves up anymore. How wonderful is that? Step 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him. praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. So as with all the previous steps, the word God can mean whatever resonates with you. The point in this step is that we're trying to discover the plan that God, whatever that means for you, has for our lives, and then find the power to carry that out. So maybe you feel conscious contact when you're out in nature, maybe with Mother Earth, the universe, some energy body. Maybe you have felt God while standing beside the ocean, or seen it in a child's face, or heard it in a beautiful piece of music. The point here is to know that there is a force more powerful than you. It loves you unconditionally. It wants only the best for you. And it can be relied upon for guidance and direction. If you still can't find a God or a higher power that works for you, you can always go back to the AA program itself as your higher power. This is another one of those steps that is inclusive, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him. Step 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to others, especially alcoholics, and to practice these principles in all our affairs. We end where we began, with the idea that this program is basically about two simple things: love and service. Love encompasses service, and service is love in action. We'll end our meditation with a couple of slow, deep breaths. In and out. Two more like that. In and out. And on the last one, you may want to pair that with a stretch or a movement, just to bring your body back. And out. Thank you for allowing me to be of service.